one of the things that happened as we're trying to then create the campaign plan is say to ourselves, let's tick the boxes that matter. Do we understand the cause? Yes, we do. Do we have a why? Yes, we do. So in doing this planning, we're building on the how. And for me, 2 or 3 experiences informed that. One of the experiences was a basic research where we went to a public hospital at the maternity ward just to gauge what people think about the healthcare system. And to us, going to a maternity ward was thinking, let's go and talk to people who are at the maternity ward, because those people, once they are there, they are waiting to deliver a child. And they are at that institution because that's what they can afford. So let's go and ask them what they think about the status of the health care system in the country. And you know, one of the sad things I heard from this lady, which reminds me of a joke, and it's sad, is I'm here and I can't afford full board, but they're taking me because I was at a local satellite clinic and they referred me to the provincial hospital. But just as I was here, 2 ladies that were in front of me in the queue, I think a day or 2 days before, have lost their children. And, you know, so it was an issue of a stillbirth. And to her, it stopped to be a health delivery issue. It became a statistic issue. And she's thinking of, so if 2 people have lost their child, what's going to happen to me? And it brings to me a sad joke, right? That Trevor Noah did in his Daywalker series, when he says when he was in college, the moment his teacher told him that, you know, 1 of 4 children in Africa are going to die of AIDS, he just looked at the kids next to him and said, 1, 2, 3, pa! 1, 2, 3, pa! And it's easy to simplify things that way. Yeah. But the thing that we needed to put through was, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be like this. It's like this because of what we've allowed to happen, or maybe what has happened, whether you accept it or not, under our watch. So maybe that's why we're also doing this. And that's what makes some of the work that we do so important, that we actually can move a narrative that changes how people think around the system that governs them.
Yeah.
So when we're doing that, we say, okay, so let's plan the campaign. Now that we know the how, now that we've got a why, now that we know that what we want to talk to the people about, how do we do it? And it's not an easy process, but what I've learned, because every day for me and for us and for my team, and I think even for ZimCode, every day we're in this campaign, we're learning new things. Yeah. Everything we knew, sometimes everything can go out the window. We're learning at, when we started this campaign, we're very sure of how big it was. Yeah. Just to give you a context of how big this campaign was, is right before we pitched the campaign to ZimCode, I just did the pitch document that we had then. I sent it to a colleague who's in the industry, probably a competitor, but he's a colleague, so he owns another agency. And I said, hey, dude, what do you think about this? And he says, I don't know what you're going to do, but I think there's going to be a lot of censorship. So in part of our planning, we're thinking, how do we not say F you to the government? But how do we, I think we're living in a context that was so difficult to put together our issues. And I think that's what has happened in most of Africa around building democracy. Yeah. That it's very difficult to put together your issues without attacking the status quo. Yeah. And we were insulting the status quo. So we looked at it and we thought, okay, let it be. I think we can relax and rest in the confidence that we're actually asking a question. We're not preferring anything to anyone. We're actually asking, and what we're looking for is a response. But how do you then plan a campaign that works? For us, we had to look at creating a manual for the campaign. And I think once people create the big ideas, which is like the most exciting part of agency, is being creative about, let's push this idea. It's coming out of a mind. This is fresh, new. No one has run it before. But the work actually then comes on, okay, so we've got this idea. It's fresh. It can run. It can sell. But how are you going to execute it across different medium? How are you going to execute it? We've been running this campaign for over 12 months. how are you going to execute it over 12 months? How are you going to sustain it? So that also then comes into the planning. For us, what we did then was to build a campaign manual that says, this is the question you're asking, this is where it affects, and these are the things we're going to face in terms of the challenges. As we plan, we said we're going to create a message that speaks to every target market. So who is our target? When you say how far and you're asking government, a guy who is overburdened by taxes wants to ask how far with this transactional tax. I mean, for how long do I have to pay 2% tax every time I transact? But when you're asking to a guy who's unemployed, you're saying, how far were the jobs that you promised us? When you're speaking to someone who is a pensioner, you're saying, how far with my pension? Because the money that I'm getting is not worth anything. So it was, we had to do a vigorous job in segmenting our target and say, this target, we're going to serve so this target, we're going to serve this message, this target, we're going to serve this message. And it went on to then say, since now we have these different targets, how do we appeal to them? Because the examples that I've given, if you've got someone who's employed who's worried about tax that they're paying, you've got someone who's not even employed who's worrying about a job, you've got someone who's post-employment who's worried about their pension, what you tell them is they appeal to different things. So we also had to create a campaign that is tailored for each audience, for each target.
Yes.